Hey guys, I'm the Maha Mechanic, and today we're going to be replacing a water pump in this Porsche 944. So let's get into it. This I'll leave a link to in the description. Came as a kit, the gasket and the water pump itself. I'm also going to be replacing the thermostat because it does sit inside the water pump. So I figured it'd be a perfect time to do the thermostat. I got all the seals. This comes this comes in a kit. Oh, this is also a thermal fan switch for the radiator. This all comes in a kit for, I don't know, around $49-50 from 944 online. Same with this. This is about, I don't know, $150 from 944 online. I'll leave a link to these in the description. But overall, pretty cheap for the intervals of which people want you to replace these. Every 30,000 miles is what some people say, so every time you change the timing belts. But you really should go every other time, because even though the new belts add a lot of stress to the bearing inside for the water pump, you really shouldn't have to replace it until around 60,000 miles or like every other belt change. So yeah, let's get started. All right, so the first step in doing this water pump down here is going to be setting the engine to top dead center. I mean, you can start with other things, but that's what I'm going to start with. So to do that, there's the bolt, the crankshaft bolt that's on the crankshaft pulley accessories behind the intake manifold, right next to the air oil separator here. Back here, you can see down there, that's a little, camera doesn't want to focus down there, but that's the little reference port, and there'll be a little line, and on top of it, it'll say OT. That's how you know when the crank is at top dead center. But to know when the cam is at top dead center, you're gonna have to look at the cam gear that's behind here. So, you can see through there quite vaguely, but you're gonna need a light. You'll be able to see it. So you can kind of see through there. You can see the gear, and you see that little notch on the top of the side of the circle there. That'll line up with a little slit in the cam gear. All right, so I've set it to top dead center. Oh, down there, the line's matched up with the little nub, and we're good there. So now that we got that situated, really want to make sure the cam or the crank is at top dead center. And as you can see here, I'm running a little bit of an advance on my cam gear here. I'm probably gonna remove that. Just, I don't know, interference engines. I was running in advance just to make it run better, but I think I'll move it back and get it close to top dead center as possible. The main part you want to get top dead center is the crankshaft. As long as you can see this line on the cam tower, you'll be fine. There's 2 rotations for every 1 cam rotation, so just know that. You'll have to crank it until the timing mark on the cam housing gets to its mark, and that'll be around where that'll start to line up with the mark on the flywheel. So let's raise her up and remove the starter. We're gonna need to install flywheel lock so we can remove the remove my thing here. It's a 24mm socket, in case you guys were wondering. So anyway, we're gonna have to remove that, and we're removing the belts anyway, so you always set top dead center and put a flywheel lock in so it doesn't move. But yeah, let's get it up in the air, remove the starter. All right, here's an example of when you're gonna need to use this pin wrench to remove the balance shaft gears. There's holes here that these will just slide into, and then you can see there, you can start removing that bolt. Now I've already got it broken loose and everything, so I can just remove it there. So let's do that now. All right, so I did have to end up removing the 2 bolts, or all the 3 bolts holding on the cam, or the rear cover. So as you can see, I got some wiggle room, so I should be able to wiggle this out. I'm gonna leave those on for now. Hopefully I don't have to take those off, but I can access all the bolts and everything through this hole. Now I'm gonna drain this. This water pump has a block off plate on it. I'm assuming that's there because if it wasn't there, there'd be a hole in the water pump and then coolant would come out. So I'm gonna start draining coolant by removing this block off plate and seeing what comes out, and then I'll remove this hose. And I'm just trying to conserve as much coolant as possible, keep it all in the system. I know it's gonna make a mess when I start to remove it, but yeah, we'll cross that bridge when we get to it. All right, so you can see there, I removed that block off plate. This is all it is. It's just something to go on there to, if you're wondering why that gasket's like that, I put it there to break the surface tension of the water so that it can keep dripping like it is. I want to get as much out as I can before I remove the water pump. As you can hear there, it's drained some of the water from in here as well, so this isn't full anymore. I'm guessing this is empty as well. Yeah, it feels empty as well right there. So I'm hoping that this was my best option to, I'm gonna reuse all this coolant anyway since it's only been ran like twice. But if you don't have one of these, then I would say go ahead and remove this or the one at the bottom there. But if you remove the one at the bottom, you're gonna get some coolant from the radiator coming out. But if you're trying to conserve, I'd say remove this top one and let it drain, like kind of crack it open at the bottom there and let it drain into a bucket, and then eventually remove this whole thing and then dump all the contents of this out. But yeah, I'm gonna wait for this to stop dripping, and then we can get to removing the water pump. All right, now we got the starter removed and the flywheel lock installed in its place, as you can see here. Now that we still have the car in the air, yeah, I'm gonna remove the radiator fans. There is a whole bunch of shoddy wiring, just ignore that, we'll figure that out later. But to remove it, there's just 2 clips. There's one there, and I'm gonna remove this, and our radiator fan switch is up there. It's got 2 wires going to it. I'm going to replace that as well. So, radiator fan's got 6 bolts, 3 on the bottom and 3 on the top. All right, so now I got the radiator fan off. Here, all the wiring for that. Now, while we're under here, we can remove the accessory belts for the alternator, AC compressor, alternator, same thing, and the power steering pump. So let's do that now. All right, I got the accessory belts off. Also removed the front timing belt cover, as you can see here. There's just bolts all the way around. It's very simple to remove. Now we can go ahead and I'm gonna drain the coolant from this hose just to, I don't know, be safe. I might do it from the top. So I'm gonna try to do this by trying to remove as little coolant from the system as possible. I know that might be pretty impossible, but all the coolant that I just put in here is brand new. It's only been run for probably like 24 minutes. But I'm gonna open this up just because when we're working with the cooling system, you don't want to have any pressure in these things. And to remove these balance shaft gears, you're gonna need to get a special tool. It's just like a pin wrench. It's got 2 pins in it that goes in there, so then you can put your wrench and socket through this hole and undo that bolt. So yeah, now that we got that apart, we're gonna have to remove our distributor to get this front cam cover, or front cam gear cover off. So let's do that now. And if you don't know how to remove the distributor, there are these screws in here that have like little springs on them. If you push them in and then turn them, whichever way you want to turn them, they'll come unlocked. So there's one on the top and one on the bottom. You push them in and turn them in, then it'll pop off. All right, now that we got the distributor removed, we're gonna have to remove the distributor rotor. And that'll be all that we have to remove for the ignition pieces. I'm gonna put it on the strut tower over there so I don't lose it. All right, now that we got everything here removed, we can remove these 2 bolts here and this one up here to remove the cam housing. All right, we've got that taken off and set aside, as you can see here. Now we can remove the belts to detension the main timing belt. Let's see, I'm still in good tension. To detension the timing belt, you're gonna have to loosen this tensioner down here. That's a 13 millimeter nut, I believe. So loosen that and everything will go loose here and you can just slide that off. But before you can remove that, you have to remove the balance shaft belts. And to do that, you're gonna have to detension the tensioner down here for the balance shafts. So let's do that now. All right, the belts are off. You have to end up removing the tensioner for the balance shaft belts and the idler roller for the balance shaft, and also the guide plate between the water pump pulley and the roller right here. You're gonna remove this guide plate. So it looks like, if you can see here, if I have enough play, I'm gonna have to release this or undo this. But in my case, you can better see it. Previous owner has cut the hole out here for the water pump. So that means all I have to do is get behind there or get the bolts on there. Let's see. All I have to do is get the nuts and bolts off that I can get to here, and I should be able to pull this bad boy out. Hopefully. We will see though. It looks like I'm gonna have to remove this roller as well. But if you do not have a cutout here, you will have to remove all of these pulleys down here, which is pretty simple. You just remove that cam bolt, the crank bolt, and then those will all slide off. If the crankshaft or the main timing pulley isn't gonna come off, you can put a pry bar behind it and kind of pry it forward. But other than that, if you grab them and kind of wiggle them, they'll come off. I don't think you need a pulley puller for that. You're also gonna need to take off the upper and lower balance shaft gears, as well as the tensioner for the timing belts. So once you got everything removed, there are 2 bolts. As you can see, there's indentation down there and over there, and one up here. There are 3 bolts that hold on the rear timing cover, And once you pull that off, you'll have full access to the water pump right here. So yeah, I'm gonna try to do it without removing the cover, but yeah, we'll see how this goes. Time to remove this. All right, here's an example of when you're gonna need to use this pin wrench to remove the balance shaft gears. There's holes here that these will just slide into, and then you can see there, you can start removing that bolt. Now I've already got it broken loose and everything, so I can just remove it there. Now a block off plate on it. I'm assuming that's gonna be, that's there because if it wasn't there, there'd be a hole in the water pump and then coolant would come out. So I'm gonna start draining coolant by removing this block off plate and seeing what comes out, and then I'll remove this hose. And I'm just trying to conserve as much coolant as possible, keep it all in the system. I know it's gonna make a mess when I start to remove it, but yeah, we'll cross that bridge when we get to it. But yeah, I'm gonna wait for this to stop dripping, and then we can get to removing the water pump. There just wasn't enough give to get to these bottom bolts down here. You can see there. There wasn't enough give to get a wrench in there, which is unfortunate, but boom. It's so easy to take off if you have an impact. Just throw it on there, break it loose, do it the rest by hand, and then you see here. Here's the, they all just come off super easy. If you just wiggle them a little bit, they'll come off super easy. Anyway, back to removing this. I'm gonna remove the hoses now. I've got 5 of the 11 nuts and bolts removed. I've got all of these on the top, and I'm just working on the ones on the bottom. I'm gonna remove this heater hose, which looks like it got a little hot. Might be a little deformed. Or maybe that's the way it's supposed to be. I remove that, remove this here, and then remove that here. Make sure I got my bucket down there. Might need to swap out for another one. We'll see. Hopefully, opening this up drained enough so I don't have to. The next footage you'll see is with the water pump removed, because I'm just gonna remove this, and get all of the bolts off. So yeah, let's do it now. All right, update. I got it off. As you can see there, made a little bit of a mess, but if I didn't drain that from the block off plate, it would have been worse. I don't know if that was causing maybe a couple of my cooling issues here. That my snap ring has kind of come out of its spot, and the thermostat is just doesn't feel like anyone put the rubber. Maybe they did. No, I don't think so. Feels like it's just bare metal. So someone didn't put the rubber seal around the edge. Yeah. I wonder if I can see the cast date on here. As you can see here, this is the new thermostat, and it's got 6/21, so that's April. It was made in April of 2021. No, June. It was made in June of 2021. And you see this one, made in August of 2009. Doesn't really bode well for the water pump over there, because usually when you do this job, you replace the thermostat as well, because, I mean, they go together. Why would you reuse an old? Yeah, no, this water pump has not been replaced in probably 12, 13 years, which is kind of concerning. Go over the thermostat just like this. All right, nice and thick. This should be my answer to all my problems that I was having. As you can see here, the size difference, and that's about as much play as I had in there. All right, so we're gonna throw this in here this way. It's like this. All right. And we're gonna take this washer that they give us, the little spacer washer. And then we're gonna take the snap ring. Now, doing the snap ring, I've found out since I had to put it in and then take it out again, it is so much easier if you take it, compress it all the way, then it'll stay, and then you can plop it in here, just like that. All right, now we can take this water pump and get it installed in the car. This kind of hard to mess this up. Get this electrical connector out of the way. All right, so that's. All right, now we're gonna install all of our nuts and bolts again and torque them down. All right, so we're gonna torque these down to 6 foot-pounds, or in inch-pounds, 72 inch-pounds. There's no specific torque sequence, so I'm just gonna go kind of in like a star pattern, even though it's not a perfect circle. I'm gonna start on the bottom here. All right, I'm just gonna go over them again just to be sure. But we're good. Now, it's very important that you get these right, because if you don't, the balance shafts will be 180 degrees out, and that'll be worse than actually having them not on the belt. So we can torque these down with our special pin wrench here, 33 foot-pounds. And then I believe the torque spec for this is... All right, so I just finished torquing down and tightening all of our belts and rollers and stuff. I got this down to the 90-degree twist, where it's kind of hard and you can't go past 90 degrees. I got everything pretty good. I've cranked it over a little bit, made sure everything's good. Each one of these things gets torqued down to 33 foot-pounds, just so you guys know. All right, since we drained the coolant out of the block, we're gonna need to refill it. And you could do this by just filling that up and having it kind of run through the water pump, but you're gonna have a lot of air bubbles and pockets since a lot of the coolant in the block is not there anymore. So the best way to fill it up is to remove this hose from the radiator right here that goes to the block. Open the bleeder valve with a 12 millimeter. I'm just gonna open the bleeder valve a little bit, or the bleeding screw. And what you wanna do is pick this hose up and just pour coolant down the hose into the block. And once you see it starting to come up out of here, so you want to have a rag or something right here, but once you see coolant coming out of here, then you stop, tighten down the bolt, and then reinstall it to the radiator. And then you can go the rest of the way by filling it up with the from the overflow tank. So with that done, I just wanted to do it right now. Usually you do it towards the end, but since I have everything kind of clear out of my way right now, now we can start getting our ignition pieces on and our front timing covers and cam cover and whatnot. So yeah, let's do that now. And boom, we got that reinstalled. Now you can throw on your accessory belts for your alternator, AC compressor, and power steering pump. That's very self-explanatory and easy. Then you're done. So I'm gonna leave it here. If you found this video informative, please be sure to leave a like on the video. And subscribe to the channel for more. And remember, no matter your experience or your skill level, keep on improving.